What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Moose Melt Podcast. Episode 54, it's the 1-year anniversary. I'm your host, Ryan. Waiting for Matt to join us, but thank you for joining us nonetheless, because, yes, like I said, 1-year anniversary. Officially been doing the podcast for a year. So I just want to start and thank everybody that's followed, that's watched an episode, that's listened to an episode, that's downloaded, that's followed, that's done anything. I appreciate you. It means a lot that, I exceeded my expectation for the year. We're at like about 112 followers on Instagram, which is awesome. My goal was for 100 over the year, and here's Matt. He can join us in our celebration. Look at this guy. What's up, buddy? Oh, shit. It's got the merch.
Hi.
What's up, buddy?
Not much. How are you?
Good.
Nice. I was just hearing your little opening there as I was coming in.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everybody because, we wouldn't be still doing this after a year if it wasn't for everybody that, watches, bounces in, comments, follows, all that stuff. So I appreciate it.
So true. So true. You watched a lot of shit this week, eh?
Sure did, buddy. Sure did.
I barely watched anything.
Yeah. I mean, I can dive into that right away if you want, but I watched a lot this week because I don't know, I was in the mood to watch things and I just hammered away at things. Boom, 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 boom. So if you want me to hop right in, I can.
Oh, I mean, I didn't. Sorry, if you had more to say, I didn't mean to impose.
Oh, you're never imposing. You pop that shirt off and impose more
and
if you want.
You're supposed to say you pop that shirt off and impose.
And impose. No, so I started the week off with the Dexter Finale, which was Sunday. It was really good. I enjoyed it. Had a few plot issues that I wasn't huge on, but it's way, 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 way better than the last
one
season of Dexter. So
yeah,
I recommend it for any Dexter fan out there that maybe thought the last season of Dexter was awful. This kind of redeemed it in a small amount. There's still some issues, but overall, I enjoyed it. I liked where it's going and potentially carrying on if they want to do another season. So
nice. Yeah, I know a lot of people who have said like that last season was just terrible. So
yeah, it was absolute dog shit. One of the worst seasons of end of seasons of a show ever. Period.
Oh yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, it's not great. Also watched the entirety of The Witcher season 2. Huge fan of the game. I had never read the books. So if people are a huge book fan and they're like, hey, it didn't match the books. Yeah.
Was it a book first and then a video game?
It's a book first, then it got adapted to a video game, and now it's adapted to a show. I played Witcher 3 for PlayStation. I've never played the first 2 games. I know they're pretty dated at this point. So, not a PC guy, so I'm not going to jump into those 2 games, but really enjoyed The Witcher 3. It's like an open world RPG, basically, where you're slaying monsters across the world. Basically, a Witcher is like basically a demon slayer that's hired on to slay monsters that are bothering people in the world of The Witcher, basically. But the show is really good. I liked the first season a lot. Had some pacing issues, had some editing issues, in my opinion, but really enjoyed it. Second season, I think, is better than the first season. So
nice. That's a good thing.
Yeah. So I recommend that if you're a fan of The Witcher or you've never seen The Witcher. Like my mom is not a video game fan at all.
Yeah.
Doesn't play video games. Actually loved the show. So I think you can hop in even if you're not a fan of the games or the books and really enjoy it. So.
Did you ever see the show called Vikings? I think it's called.
I've never seen it, but no, I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Kate got super into that. She really liked it, which was weird. I thought it was weird, but
I'm not into like really like high
medieval?
fantasy type stuff.
Yeah,
Generally, like
me neither. Me neither. Like
Vikings and
I
like
don't do Lord of the Rings and stuff like that even. So
neither do I. I mean, I've seen the movies, but like I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings guy. I think the movies are actually pretty boring. But
yeah, me too.
I don't know. For some reason The Witcher just like clicks with me for some reason. Maybe it's Henry Cavill. Maybe it's the girl that plays fuck, I can't even think of her name right now. But the main chick, fucking gorgeous. So has me in there too.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great. It's really great.
It's really great. I really appreciate her beauty. The Challenge finale, Challenge All Stars, is on Paramount Plus. Watch that. I highly recommend the Challenge All Stars over the main seasons. It's got all the like classic Challenger people in it from like old school MTV era, and it's just way better than the original series. So if you're a Challenge fan and haven't hit that up, I recommend that.
Man, you're on it this week. Damn.
Oh, I'm on it. I'm on it, baby.
I'm on it.
Peacemaker episode 1, 2, and 3 came out on yesterday, Thursday.
Astonishing News and Reviews has been like yapping about it nonstop. He fucking loves
so
it.
Fucking good. So fucking good. It's
maybe after I watch Suicide Squad, I'll watch that.
Yeah. So I sent Matt Suicide Squad as a gift, and I'm making him watch it, whether he wants to or not. Now, he has no choice. It was a gift. Yeah. He has to watch it.
True. It's true. I owe it at least that.
Yeah. I think you'll enjoy it. I mean, it's very James Gunn.
I know I'll enjoy it. Just from like the reviews I've heard of it, and like the podcasts I've listened to, people talking about it, and even just you talking about it, and like my other friends. I know I'll like it. So,
did you watch the original Suicide Squad?
No.
You should watch that first.
Really?
It's not good.
No,
it's not good.
I don't think I'll be able to do that, but we'll see. But I don't think so.
But like characters do carry over into the James Gunn one.
Yeah, but I've heard that the character's development in the first one is really nothing. So it's like
I feel
like I'll probably be able to just pick up what I need to pick up.
I think you will, but like I think you'd appreciate elements of the beginning of the second movie more if you've seen the first one, but it's not necessary, like totally. But
I'm not gonna lie. There's a
You're not gonna watch the first
super strong to almost guaranteed chance that I'm not watching the worst
it's really bad
DC movie.
It's not the worst.
Just so
but
I can enjoy the best one.
Yeah. That's fair. I don't know. There's elements of the first one that are fine. Mostly Harley Quinn. I love Harley Quinn. I love Margot. Margot. But
from what I've seen of her as what's her name, Harley Quinn, she's really good. So
yeah, I'm a big fan. She's beautiful. But anyway, Peacemaker is excellent. It's very, very funny. There's obviously no spoilers going on here. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, especially Matt. But it's really, really funny, really, really good. John Cena's awesome as Peacemaker. It's a very adult, very gory, very explicit show. You know, you probably don't want to watch it with kids or anything like that, but it's reminiscent to Daredevil. Like it's very nice. Sexual, adult, funny, very good. But it has that like Guardians element of like music tied into like every episode and like stuff like that, where you can totally see the like Guardians influences in the episodes.
Very cool.
It's really good. Yeah. Lastly, Afterlife season 3 came out today. I watched the entire thing this morning. It's only 6 episodes. They're only like 25-minute episodes, so it's not like a huge commitment or anything like that. But if you like Ricky Gervais, I highly recommend the series. This is the last season, season 3. It's a very sad show. There's like very sad elements of it. Like I bawled this morning at the finale. Like it's not constant comedy show. Deals with a lot of very adult heavy shit. Yeah, it's deals with death. It deals with loss. It deals with a lot of things. Suicide. So if anybody has like that kind of issues, you're probably not going to take the show. But I just think it has very positive elements too, and it's very like how to deal with that stuff and how to move on from those things, and very funny. So
Nice.
I'm a huge Ricky Gervais fan, and if you enjoy his stuff, I think you'll enjoy it. So I'd recommend that as well. And then obviously Book of Boba Fett. I watched that, and no Scream. I can't find a copy of Scream that leaked or anything online, so I have not seen that movie. I cannot review that movie. I do not want spoilers for that movie. So if you tweet me or message me and say, "Hey, Scream this, Scream that," I will kill you.
There you have it, folks.
Yeah. So, Matthew, I push it to you.
That's a lot of stuff to watch. I didn't really get to watch a lot this week because I was busy. I was super busy this week. This week was kind of like my first week of like starting kind of my like New Year's resolutions. Like I need to get in better shape, right? So I'm kind of been working on that. It's been a good little challenging week, but it's been good.
It's all right. Yeah. There's no reason not to have goals, man.
You what?
Goals are fine. I said goals are fine. Goals are good.
Yeah. So I kind of started doing that this week, and it kind of took up more of my time than normal. So
that's all right.
Hit the gym a few times, and
that's a good boy.
Yeah. So
I need you to hit 90, 95 years old, buddy. So you got to hit that gym.
95.
I want you decrepit as fuck, so I can take full advantage of it.
Is it elder abuse if the other person abusing me is also an elderly person?
No, that's just hot. 2 95-year-olds just makes a good porn.
That's good.
Yeah,
Get some Vaseline out there and
a lot of Vaseline, a lot of curtains. That's all you need.
Curtains?
Yeah, you don't want to see that shit. Nobody else wants to see that.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Just put it around.
Yeah. You want a full like hazmat suit after that.
That's funny. So what did I watch this week? So yeah, like the main thing I watched this week, we watched this show called Happy Valley.
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
It's like a British, I don't even know. It's kind of like a mystery, I guess. It's like a cop and like, okay, how much am I going to botch this? Let's see. It's a cop who like is taking care of like her dead daughter's kid, and like the dad of the kid. Fuck, I'm going to screw this up. Just a good movie, a good TV series. It's way too complex. It's not really like my normal like style of stuff that I watch, right? So
sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, it sounds like it's right up your alley. Like Kate wanted to watch it, so I was like, yeah, all right, well, let's watch it, right? So
did she finish the session?
No, she stopped because she was like, this is too like depressing. These people are like super depressing. I don't even think she finished the first season. I think she only got to like 6 or 7 and then stopped.
If I can say one thing, this is my goal, is tell her to finish the first season, because it ends on such a fucking huge cliffhanger that I guarantee if she makes it to the end of the first season, she's going to want to watch the second season.
I think she was like actually like getting like anxiety from it.
Oh, it's very tense and it's a very awkward show. So like anybody that has social anxiety or anything like that, like it definitely pushes those buttons where it's like purposely as awkward as it can be in circumstances like that. But fuck, that show is good, man. It's winning like Golden Globes and nominated for like Emmys and shit. Like it's fucking so good, dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So yeah, Happy Valley, even though I didn't describe it very well, it's good. It's like a mystery kind of thing, but it's only like the episodes are about an hour each. I think there's like
Where's 6. It at?
I think we actually had to get like an extra like add-on package on Prime to get it. So, but it was like a free trial, so I think we just like started the trial and then we'll take it off. But I think there's 3 seasons. 2 seasons, and they're filming a 3rd one now, I think. Okay. And I think Kate's seen both seasons, but she's like, it's been a long time.
Yeah. But there's something about like I'm same as her probably in that way, where showing somebody something for the first time and like getting to enjoy it again for a second time through their eyes is like, I don't know, there's something about that like is really cool. I don't know. I'm sure most people are like, no, I don't want to watch anything for the second time, but
yeah,
I don't know. I love showing something to somebody for the first time.
Me too. Yeah, because there's just so many good times. Like I remember even like we used to watch South Park like crazy, and then like I remember like when I started hanging out with Craig, I was like, at that point I had been watching South Park for like I think it was up to like season 6 or 7 or something like that, or maybe 8. I don't remember. Anyway, and I when I started hanging out with him, I'm like, oh, do you ever watch South Park? And he's like, oh, like I watched it when I was younger, and it's like fine, but I don't really watch it. And I was like, yeah, we should get super baked and watch some South Park. And like it became like this huge thing. It's like all we did would just hang out and watch South Park, smoke weed, and like
man,
asses off.
There's something about like the laughter that's like contagious in those shows where like even if you're watching it for the second or third time with somebody that has never seen it, it makes it that much funnier that time again. Like it just raises the bar of like you see it through somebody else's eyes, and it just brings it up to that level, you know?
Yeah, man. So yeah, where else was I going? What else did I watch? The other thing I watched this week was after I watched Boba Fett, I was like, I kind of want to watch Solo.
Oh, really?
So I watched Solo, and it was it was still what I remember it being. I actually like don't mind that movie. I mean, there's definitely it has some of the cringiest shit in Star Wars in it, in my opinion. Yeah. Like when he gets his name, like when he goes to the Imperial thing and he's like, they're like, what's your name? He's like, Han. And they're like, what's your last name? Or what's your people's name? Or whatever. And he's like, I don't have any people. And they're like, Solo.
Yeah, it's so
like,
bad.
Oh my God, really? Is that really where he got his name from? It's terrible.
I don't remember that movie almost at all because when I watched it once. That's the one Star Wars film that's come out in our life that I didn't see in theaters because I thought it looked terrible. I only watched it once and I hated it, so I never watched it again. I should watch it again, but I just remember it being very cringy.
I have to say that it takes about 30 minutes, but like I actually find I'm not even gonna try to say his name. The lead guy who plays Han, I actually find he does a really good job at like being that character and still kind of making it his own thing. But like I see a lot of the similarities. It just takes a little bit of getting used to because it's just like you're so used to it being Harrison Ford, and it's just weird that it isn't. But But I don't know. Like I actually don't mind it. But there's just like there's a few too many cringy things, and then there's like Lando's robot there, L3, who's played by that girl from Fleabag.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just like super like robot rights thing, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is just so like cram it down your throat. Like again, I'm all for inclusion, but it's just like when it's done like that, I'm like, it's just so cringy. It's just
Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I found it very cringy. I found the dialogue really badly written, and the entire time I was watching that movie, I was like, I want to be doing anything but watching this movie. So I never went back and seen it a second time because I hated it the first time. But I should go back and see it again just cause. But
there's a lot of hidden stuff in there that like I'm not saying it's like an amazing movie. It's definitely in the low levels of the Star Wars rankings for me. But it's just like there's a lot of like super interesting ideas in there. Like Crimson Dawn is like an awesome inclusion into the Star Wars universe, and like we'll talk about it when we get into Boba Fett, but I actually kind of feel like we might actually be heading into some Crimson Dawn stuff, and that's actually what sparked my rewatch. Was I'm like, as we got to the end of Boba Fett and we started talking about like rival gangs and bigger threats and stuff like that, I'm like, at this time, I believe the Crimson Dawn is still a thing at this timeline in Star Wars. So, like, starting to wonder if maybe that might be something that we might be seeing soon. So,
I mean, it's weird that actor that played Han did not do pretty much anything since.
Yeah.
So it's very awkward that like maybe he was very underappreciated for that movie and he didn't get many other roles, but I don't know. His name's Alden
Ehrenreich or something.
Ehrenreich. I'm not sure how to say it, but I don't know. I didn't enjoy him in any way in that movie. But
I know you don't like Donald Glover, but I do like Donald Glover, and I know you do. But I like him, and I thought he did a really good Lando. He gets that voice just so fucking perfect.
I think he's one of the most overrated actors in the world. I don't find him funny. I don't find him talented. I think his music sucks. I don't see the joy in that man, but I appreciate that people enjoy his stuff. It's not for me.
I like his music, and I shouldn't say I really like him as an actor, because really outside of Solo and Community, and like when I look at Community, I'm not watching it and be like, man, these guys are great actors. Like I watch Community because I think it's funny as fuck, but like,
yeah,
it's not that even upon like when I watch it now, like there's things in it that I find cringy. But that being said, like there's also a lot of shit in it where I'm like, man, that would not be, if that was being made today, that wouldn't be in here. There's so much of that.
Oh,
especially the first two seasons where Chevy Chase's character is like prominent. Like, oh my God. There's so many parts that are just like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really familiar with that show, but I love Jillian Jacobs.
She's very funny. Greta?
Yeah, from the series Love, like I absolutely adore her. So, yeah, I mean, I appreciate her, and obviously Chevy Chase, like in Christmas Vacation and shit like that. Like,
yeah,
80s movies he was in was fucking top notch. But the rest of that show, you've showed me a few episodes here and there, and they're okay, but it's not a series where I'd be like, oh, that's a high tier fucking sitcom. Like to me, it's like bottom tier,
Yeah. I think it's a little different for us too, because I feel like you need more room in your like ranking, because like for me, like I'm very like one-sided almost when it comes to like the TV shows I watch. Like they're all comedies. Like everything's comedy, right? And it's just like, because it's just like that's what keeps me like.
No, sure.
I'm not saying that's always the case, but it's just like there's a lot of stuff that I've watched. And again, like, it's not like I watch it right through, but it's like, there's a lot of stuff that I watch that everyone's like, oh, you got to give it this much time. And I'm just like, man, I cannot commit that kind of time to something that I cannot watch. Like,
your attention span is very small.
Yeah. It's like,
and I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, that's just you. Like, you have a very small attention span, and if something doesn't hook you, then you're out. And that's fine. That's your time to you is precious to that level, and if something doesn't meet your expectation at that level, then you're out. And that's an okay way to be, because I think like a lot of times you see that in video games where people are like, oh, this video game's great, you just have to wait till like 25 hours in where it really hits its stride. And it's like, motherfucker, I'm not jumping into this game 25 hours deep for it to get good. Like, there's a game coming out in a few weeks called Dying Light 2. And the developer came out and was like, to do everything in this game is going to take you 200 hours. Jeez. And I'm like, I'm not putting 200 hours into this game. It's not going to happen. Like, you might get 50, 60 hours out of me at most, and then I'm out. So
on to the next thing.
Yeah, like I don't have the time anymore to put 60 hours into a game. So that game has to be really fucking compelling to get me to hook 60 hours deep. Mm-hmm. And like a movie or a series that's like, oh, it's great in season 3, but you have to get through 2 seasons of garbage to get there. And it's like, yeah, dude, I'm out. If it doesn't hook me by episode 3, I gotta bounce.
The thing is like, I can do it. It's harder for me to like catch up. So like, I'll use like Clone Wars as an example. So it's like, I've seen like up to almost season 4, and then I saw half of season 7, the last one that just came out recently, and I skipped all the good stuff in the middle. But it's just like, they're 25 episodes. I know they're only 30 minutes or 20 minutes, but like it's still like, and it's funny because I say to my friends who are so in love with Clone Wars, I'm like, can I skip this shit? Like, can I just get to the good shit? And they're like, no, because it's all about development of these clones and really how different they all are.
Right.
And I like, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's too much, right? Even with Star Wars Rebels, like, which is now like one of my favorite things about Star Wars, like top 3. But like when I first I watched the first season when it kind of came out, or a little bit after, maybe a year after, and then I stopped for like 4 years. And then when I went back to it, I was like, fuck, I have like 3 seasons at 20. I basically have like 80, almost 80 episodes to catch up on.
It's too much.
And it was super daunting. It took me like 3 or 4 months because I was actually like making myself like sit down and watch them. Like I wasn't like, I was committing to them. And it took, once I got to the last step, I remember like the second last episode, something like huge happens. And I was like, we get to the next one, and then I didn't even realize it was done. And I'm like, what? That's it?
Yeah. No, it's really hard because like there's a lot of old shows that I would recommend people to watch. Like I'm a huge Lost fan. I'm a huge X-Files fan. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like stuff like that. But I'm like, I recognize that like, yeah, these are 22 to 24 episode seasons.
Yeah.
There's dud episodes in the first season. They're very dated now. They took place, some of these shows took place in like the 80s and 90s. Like X-Files, the first season was in 89. It's super dated. It does not hold up. Like, it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
And to get somebody to commit to like, hey, you have to watch 22 episodes so that you can enjoy season 3, season 4, season 5, so on and so forth, where the show gets really, really good. It's too much. Like, these series, they had to go that long because they had these season commitments, but they also wanted to hit that mark, that 100 episode mark where they could get in syndication. And, that was like the bar. It was 100 episodes. Okay, now you're syndicated. Now you can be on continually.
Yeah.
And to get to that mark, these series, hit 10 seasons, and they didn't need 10 seasons. They could have done the story in 5.
Right.
But they drag it out, and it's hard. It's tough.
It's interesting because it kind of brings up the point of like, if you look at it from like a nostalgic purpose, right? And it's like, I'll use like Ninja Turtles as a great example. It's like, I love the toys. I have some of them. Oh no. Oh, I'm freezing again. Oh, am I freezing? I'm good. Okay.
No, it's good for me.
So like once I kind of got deep into the figures, I was like, I'm going to go back and watch them. I think I watched the first season, and by the end I was like struggling pretty hard to like stay with it. And like, I think I got like 2 episodes into the second season, and I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm out.
I think as a kid, you have a different attention span maybe, or at least you don't pay attention enough to it where it matters. Like, time's kind of irrelevant when you're 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever, that you don't really realize time passing. You don't really understand like the week because you're not going to work. You're not, whatever. But now our time is so precious to us that like spending 2-3 hours watching a show, if it doesn't hook you or doesn't compel you, like you got to bounce. There's other things to do. There's wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, kids, whatever the case may be. In your life, and you just don't have the time to go like, I would rather be watching this 2-hour episode that I'm not really enjoying rather than, having dinner with my girlfriend, wife, kid, baby, family, girlfriend, husband, mom, dad, grandpa, like whatever the case is. There's just other things to do. And like, it's the same with football. Like, I love football, but there's also games where I'm like, okay, it's halftime and this team's winning 21-0. It's off. I'm sorry. I don't have any time to go. I'm going to watch the next 2 hours of this game when my team's getting creamed. I just don't. I don't care enough.
Yep. Football probably too, right?
Well, football playoffs start tomorrow. Like, and I'm super excited for tomorrow because both games are great, and I'm watching it with my buddy tomorrow. But I'm like, we're going to watch 8 hours of football together, and if this game sucks.
That's going to suck.
That's 8 hours I'm not going to get back, and there's other things I could be doing,
I get it.
But no, it can be said for anything. A video game, a movie, a show, anything. If it doesn't compel you within the first couple hours, to me, it's like, all right, you got to go.
Yeah.
You got to quit it.
Yeah, it's true. I'm very much like that. I can't stay with something that's not good. So,
but it doesn't work for music. Because there's so many times where I listen to an album for the first time and I'm like, meh, didn't do it for me. You know what? Like,
I feel like music is very like situational too. Like,
it's so situational.
It's what?
It's very situational. It's seasonal. It's time of day. Are you listening to it in headphones or on a stereo? Like, there's so many different variations of an album, and there's so many times where I listen to an album for the first time and I go, oh, that's way worse than their last album. I didn't like that at all. And then I listen to it in the right setting, in the right mood, in the right time of day, in the right season, and I go, oh my God, this album was amazing. What was I thinking?
Yeah. That's the same for me. I've had lots of times where I put something on when I first got it. Like I remember when I first bought an Alkaline Trio CD. I think I was From Here to Infirmatory, and I bought it. I listened to it once or twice, and I was like, "Yeah, it's not really for me." Put it on my shelf, and I think I revisited it like 3 years later or something like that, or 2 years later maybe. Like it was right when the next album was about to come out. I got into it about a month before it was supposed to come out by accident. Like I kind of just was like, let's just give. I didn't even know they had a new album coming out because I wasn't really paying attention to them because I didn't care for it, right?
Sure.
And then like I listened to it and I was just like, holy shit, this is amazing. And then I actually got to be like excited. I basically got into the first album, and then as soon as that one was kind of like, you know, phasing out, I got to go into the next one, right? It was super cool.
Yeah, like it's weird now, the time we live in, because we know things so far ahead of time, and the internet and everything like that. Like we have release dates, you know, at the ready. If you're excited for an album, you know it's coming out 6 months from now. You know the date. You know the single.
In fairness, when we were both really into music, we had access to that too.
Kind of.
Not when we first listened to it. Like when I first listened to it, is different. It's just like collecting toys.
I'm thinking like late 90s. I remember when Spiritual Machines for Our Lady Peace came out. I had no idea that album was coming out. Like it was a total surprise to me. It dropped, and I was like, I feel like their last album just came out, and now all of a sudden I have this new album, and I'm stoked. I'm like super excited, but I didn't know. I had no anticipation for that album. I didn't know a single. I didn't hear a single from it. Like it just was. It was there. And
I was always listening to. I mean, I know APNet wasn't really following Our Lady Peace, but like I guess at that point, I think I got into them like 99 or something. So I guess it was probably. But
a little. I think it's later. Like I feel like by the time I had like access to the internet in a readily available area, like Blink-182, stuff like that. Like when self-titled Blink-182 came out, I remember it being streamable like a week before the album came out.
Yep.
And listening to it online and going, holy shit, this is a weird album. Like this isn't Blink-182. And then having had the opportunity of that week listening to it like almost every night after school, like high school or whatever, I listened to it like every night, and then it caught on, and I was like, oh my God, this album's really, really good. And then when the album dropped and I bought it, and I was like, this is like their best album. This is amazing. Like it's so mature and different from their previous things. And I just feel like now it's like there's so many single drops and you're getting so much information that it's really hard to anticipate an album or a movie because we're getting so many trailers or singles or whatever, interviews that like it either increases the anticipation to a level that it can never meet, or we get too much information about it and there's no surprises in that thing. Like we know everything already, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I like having access to it, but I know what you're saying. Like we were kind of talking about this. I had a meeting with the guy who runs Secret Santa with me and the guy who runs the summer version of the same kind of idea. And we were kind of talking about like engagement nowadays versus like back in the day, right? Because like we noticed this year with Secret Santa, especially, like we've noticed it dwindling over the last few years, but there's like not as much communication like in the forum. Like a lot of the times people would post and then like, you know, half the people participating would like make a comment on it. Maybe not half, but like, you know, a good 6 or 7. If there was like, it was like a really good custom, sometimes like 10 or 12 people. Like, you know, I could probably say with this whole event, there's probably been like 40 posts, like not even one per figure. And it's just like, you know, and it's like, and then we kind of, I said, like, it sucks that that's happening. And Wes, the guy who runs that one with me, he said, well, it's because we've just become so inclined to just like it Like, it's just your engagement now is like, yep, that's good enough. Like, I don't need to say anything. I'm engaging the fact that I see it and I think it's cool or whatever, right? And it's
totally. I mean, even I see that in like text messages with my friends, right? Like we all use WhatsApp, and there's so many times where I wake up because I work midnights, and there's like 35 posts from my friends that have all made this thread throughout the day, and I just hit okay, and that's my response.
That's how our group is too.
Yeah, and that's what I mean is like there's a lot of times where you're seeing a thread on a message board or whatever. And instead of saying like, oh man, I really like this figure, or oh, I really like this trailer or whatever, you just hit the like button and you're bounced because you're on to the next thing. And our attention spans are so small, and we have so much to do and so much to watch and so much to play and so much to listen to that we don't have time to sit there and message the creator we like or the musician we like or the director we like and say like, hey man, I really liked what you did today, or I really appreciate what you put out today. Like instead it's just like hit the like button, move on to the next thing. Hey, I gotta go to work. Hey, I gotta feed the kids. Hey, I gotta make dinner. Hey, I gotta hop in the shower. Hey, I gotta walk the dog. Like we're so full of shit that like it's at this point, and it sucks in a way, but like I said this to a kid at work the other day, is like I was so excited for Scream, and it sucks that I can't watch Scream. And I told him, I was like, I remember when Scream 3 came out, I was on dial-up internet and I tried to download that movie because I could not go to the theater to see it because it was rated R. And I was like, I don't know, whatever it was, 16, 17, whatever it was, I couldn't get in. And I downloaded that movie on like Kaza or whatever the fucking download service was. And I downloaded it. It was porn. And I was so upset.
Here we go.
No, I was so mad that I got porn instead of Scream 3 that I was furious because it took me like 22 hours to download the movie.
Yeah, that's right. I remember back in the day it would take that long. Jeez.
Right. And that's what I was telling him. I was like, the kids today are never going to understand of like downloading an MP3 of the new single from the band you liked and it taking 35 minutes to get that song.
Yeah.
Because it took forever to download, or the video of like whatever. I was watching SNL videos of like Celebrity Jeopardy or whatever. And to get that video downloaded or watch it on YouTube, it was like it had to buffer for 20 minutes before you could watch it. And it's like, it was so frustrating. I was like, kids today are never going to understand getting everything on demand.
That's insane. It's pretty cool that we got, I know every generation gets to say this, but like, it's pretty cool that we got some of the cool shit. Like, remember how cool it was when we got iPods? Remember that? Like, I remember, especially because like, we were both huge music heads. We both love music. And like, remember in college, like I used to carry around my backpack with like a 25 CD binder in my fucking college backpack because I never took my headphones off. I always had them on.
Same. My high school backpack, the bottom of my backpack in high school had 3 CD binders of like, I probably had like 250 CDs in the bottom of my backpack.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with fucking, okay, today is this album. I'm listening to this throughout the day, between classes, on lunch, whatever. And then iPod came out and I was like, I can listen to this song instantly. No problem. I don't have to search for the CD. I don't have to. Yeah. And it was amazing. And like, it's the same with cable internet and high speed internet. It's like when that first came out and all of a sudden I could go from 30 minutes to download an MP3 to like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It was like,
I know. It was great.
Like, this is the most insane thing ever. And I would download whatever track, like, I don't know, Blink-182 or Muse or whatever album I was listening to at that time. And I would go, oh, I can't wait till I hear this. And I would download it. And then all of a sudden it's not the thing I was thinking it was going to be. Is I downloaded the new Blink-182 single and, oh, it's Kid Rock. God damn it. But it was still the thrill of like, hey, there's new music and it's digital and it's here and I can download it and I can burn it to a CD and carry it to school tomorrow or whatever. Like, that is never going to happen again. No. There's never going to be that time period where, like, even explaining ICQ to a kid at work, and I'm like, ICQ was the thing. Like,
Huge.
there was no text messaging. If you wanted to text your friend, you're using MSN or ICQ to say, like, hey, man, what are you doing tonight? You want to hang out? So on and so forth. And you hope that they were online to see that at some point.
Yep.
Like, and they're never going to experience that. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, man. It is weird. ICQ. Jesus. Yeah, it is
It was the
crazy.
best.
It's very cool.
I miss it.
But
I miss
that
being a
means-
teenager.
Yeah, I don't really miss that, but
I don't miss high school.
Nah,
I hated high school.
High school. Me too.
I miss being like 17, 18 and like having freedom and going out with friends and not caring. You don't have to worry about work. It's not a career. It's not paying bills. You're living at your parents' house and you can just go out and fuck around and get drunk and you're going to bed at 3 a.m. and you're getting up for work at 7 and you don't give a fuck.
I did
And
those
miss
later.
that.
I was later than everybody because I was like, I didn't do that when I was a teenager. I was a good boy. I didn't do that till I was like
I was.
21, probably like 20, 21, I would say.
Well, I didn't smoke weed until like 25
I know
with you.
that, but I even mean just drinking. Like I didn't start drinking till I was 21.
I think I was 18 or 17. And I cried the first time I got drunk. Yeah. I dropped a cup on my friend's foot, my friend Chris. I dropped a cup on his foot and he yelled at me. He was like, you asshole, what are you doing? And like, ow, my foot. And I started bawling. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I started crying like my eyes out. And yeah, that was my first time I ever got drunk.
We should probably talk about Boba Fett since we're 40 minutes in and haven't started talking about what we're going to talk about.
This is the podcast, baby. You came for this madness.
Right. We just jump all over the place, wherever it takes us.
I wasn't as high as this on this episode as you were, definitely. But I enjoyed it. But it wasn't my favorite episode.
Oh, really? I definitely like this one the best so far. But there are definitely some pieces that really took me out. And there's a couple that I felt were like a couple parts that I thought were super underwhelming. But A,
it was too short.
It was
B,
too short. Yeah. Too short, yeah.
I don't feel like we got enough out of the things that were going on in this episode. I felt like I just felt like it was too short and like the story wasn't involved enough in the episode where I was like, oh, we really moved the plot forward. I really love the Back to the Future influences that are like heavily apparent in this episode. Like the gang that Boba Fett ties in there, that they're all on their like weird colored speeders. It's like, yeah, it's straight out of Back to the Future. It's basically that gang that has the hoverboards, like are chasing that car down the street, and then they're like.
And you said you like that? You like that part?
I like that it had Back to the Future influences. I hated the color of the speeders.
Me too. God,
Like
it's so bad.
It's so corny.
Yeah.
I
agree.
But like the scene of like in the Back to the Future, like all the shit falling into his car and everything like that, they kind of had like a version of that.
Yep.
And like it's very Back to the Future. You could tell it's totally inspired by Back to the Future, but I hated the color of their motorbikes or whatever. I thought it looked so bad.
Reminded me of the Power Rangers. Actually, I saw a video on Instagram today as I was flipping through stories, and someone put the "Go Power Rangers" with the bike jumping off of it.
Yeah, it did not fit Star Wars at all.
I agree, not at all. It's funny because when that comes up, like, and the guy's like, "Oh, it's these kids who have enhanced themselves with droid parts. They're dangerous." And I'm just like, ooh, this sounds good. And then we go to the next scene and we get there. I'm like, what is this? I thought like kids themselves look okay, but the like crazy Vespas and stuff is just it was a bit much. Like it kind of felt like cyberpunk, and I was just like
very cyberpunk.
I just don't know if that. I mean, the thing is, it's funny because a few weeks ago I think I was saying that like I like the thing I like about Star Wars is the aesthetic, and that like anything can kind of be there, and it's like it all just kind of works. But I think this is one of the first times where I've seen something in Star Wars where I was like, it doesn't
doesn't
really
fit.
seem like it fits here. Like,
No, I totally
in
agree.
a world where there's everything, and this seems very weird. Like, and that was it. That part in particular took me out of that episode quite a bit.
I just think the color palette of Star Wars is so muted
Dirty.
and like, yeah, it's dirty, it's sandy, it's very certain colors. Like everything's white or beige or dark. Like it's
either a desert or an Apple store.
Yeah. And the color palette is just so, we have 40, 50 years of color palette from Star Wars. And then we all of a sudden introduce like blue and red and all these motorbikes or whatever, Vespas or whatever the fuck they're supposed to be. And it just does not fit the universe at all.
What's even weirder, and I mean, I noticed this as well, but the guys on the A&R show kind of said the same thing, was like, they're pristine. Like, there's no, they're like shiny red, shiny blue, like they're not dirty from sand. And it's just like, it's super hard. It makes them like look fake, and it makes them look, it just didn't work.
Well, think of episode 1 when you have the pod races, right? Like these things are janky and they have like the same color palette, but they're kind of like pieces put together to make it work or whatever. Yeah, it feels like a transformer almost, where these pieces are like together but they're not. And then you see these bikes and they look pristine, like they're just brand new, and it just doesn't work. These kids are supposed to be poor.
Yeah.
Where did they afford these like high-end, really good-looking bikes that are all this like clean colors and parts? Like it should look like these kids are like homeless and they're taking like pieces off of droids or pieces off of starships that were downed and piecing them together to ride. And like I think that would have been a really cool looking aspect of like, these kids are like partners basically and putting together these bikes, and it just didn't fit. It just didn't work.
Like for me, I thought the best way to say it is the idea sounds amazing.
Sure.
The execution was a disaster.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Because it's like, to me, a gang of teenagers who have cybernetically enhanced themselves with droid parts who are dangerous, that sounds pretty fucking sweet to me.
Yeah, totally. It says cyberpunk straight up, but it just doesn't work in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Yeah. If again, like the thing is like the droid parts we see, they don't look familiar. Like if they made them more dirty and they made them like look like they've been salvaged, so that way they can use them and build themselves up, basically. Like, think of how sick that would have looked. Instead, we got like weird, like Fox X-Men style, like eye guy, and like, you know, it's just like
the eye guy. It just didn't work for me. That whole aspect of the episode was really took me out of Star Wars. Really took me out of what I was watching, and it sucks because there's parts of the episode I really, really liked. Seeing the Hutt twins back and kind of setting up that whole like storyline of like that kind of being I don't know, misguided kind of nudge of like, this is going to be the big threat of the season, and it's like they kind of canceled that and they're like, no, like this is the end.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, who knows? It could be a twist, but showing what is his name, Black Chrysanthemum or whatever. Yeah, like that whole scene was awesome.
That was the best part of the whole thing for me.
It was, until you see the fucking kid gang roll in and go like, hey, we're going to take down this fucking Wookiee. And I'm like, why? Why couldn't we get a big fight between Boba Fett and the Wookiee?
Well, the thing is the Wookiee whooped the shit out of him. And then he got up and kind of got him back. But I mean, like, honestly, like, I didn't actually even mind with the kid's inclusion in that. It didn't bug me too much. I can accept that one Wookiee being completely surrounded is at the weaker end of the stick. I can accept that, especially because they have weapons who can kind of keep him at a distance, and it's just like I can accept that. So like that whole scene was dynamite. Like,
I would have absolutely loved if these kids roll in and they're using like their fucking electric leashes or whatever the fuck, and like all these weapons, and then fucking this Wookiee comes in and just beats their fucking skull in, like fucking decapitates these bitches, fucking bites off their heads. Like I would have been
I like that he bites too. That's great. He bit the Gamorrean
but I
guard.
would have been like, oh my god, like they introduced these kids and they just got their fucking ass whooped and they're dead. That would have been awesome. But the fact that they were like kind of taking them down and shit, I was like, oh, come on, man.
That didn't bother me. I love Black Chrysanthemum. Like, we better get a fucking action figure of that, like, pretty fucking quick here. Because he looks
awesome.
Oh, so cool. So
yeah. I really love him as part of the episode, and I think he will come back later in the series. Like,
I do too. I think Boba will go to him for help.
Go to him for help, or he'll come back with a crew of fucking Wookiees or something to fuck Boba Fett.
And fuck Boba Fett?
Yeah, like I think
he'll go
awesome.
back. I think because Boba let him go, he's gonna
maybe. But like, how awesome would it be in like the end fight if all of a sudden he shows up with like 7 other Wookiees and is just like, we're here to fucking smash skulls and like, let's go. Like, it'd be great.
I mean, that'd be cool, but yeah, I feel like we're gonna see him back, but I feel like he's gonna be with Boba Fett. I think.
Yeah, it could be. He could be. He could be part of the end fight.
Past, like in canon, anyway. Like
yeah.
So yeah, I love that character, man. I think he's so badass. I love how he like just growls and screams all the time. It's just like, and man, like even in that fight, like he got stabbed like fucking 7 times or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
and you hear him roar, but he's like it hurts, going. But it's not like the end game for him. Like he just gets back up and he's like, yeah, fuck you, like fuck you. You know,
crazy dude. So crazy.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And then we get a fucking another Rancor, which was awesome.
So cool.
Just seeing a baby Rancor like being kind of dragged in, and when they Black kind of got pushed down into the Rancor pit, I was like, oh cool, like they're gonna do like a Wookiee down there where they're gonna drop dudes in, the Wookiee's gonna beat the fuck out of them.
That would be very Star Wars Solo too.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like that's interesting that they're going to basically have like a kind of gladiator pit down here where, you know, it's going to be a fight to the death almost, but they instantly dropped that and they're like, oh, no, we're bringing you another Rancor and he's going to fuck people up. And I was like, hell yes, this is what I wanted. Like, this is awesome.
We're definitely getting Boba Fett riding that thing.
100%.
Yeah.
By the end of this series, he's going to be riding that thing, fucking annihilating people.
And Danny Trejo is going to be behind him, screaming at him or something fun.
100%.
Like that part where Boba's like, "I've rode beasts 10 times bigger than this." I think that's a reference to the holiday special. I don't know if you've never seen a holiday special, have you? There's like he rides this like I know there's a name, I just don't know it. There's like he rides this like brontosaurus looking dude, like this big dinosaur thing.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a reference to that.
Probably. I mean, as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, he's riding this thing in the finale.
Yeah.
When there's a big fight going on, he's going to bring out this Rancor and it's just going to fuck people up.
Yep.
And I'm so excited for that.
Me too. He's going to just be throwing shit everywhere.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Hell yeah. I love that Rancor though, like the fact that they had the little eye folds on him and they're like, oh, the first human he sees, he's going to like adapt to or whatever. And I'm like, bond to, yeah. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I love this aspect. It just, I don't know. For some reason, like animals and me, I just have that attachment where I was just like, I love this Rancor. And if you hurt this Rancor, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. I like I definitely like, there's no way we're not seeing that happen. That's definitely
100%.
Yeah, it was cool because there was just so many things in this that were like kickbacks to like the past, right? It's like, like even if you think about the flashback, like that pretty much brings us to the present day, right? Like, like that's pretty much just about when he went after his armor, right?
Sure. And it was really reminiscent of when Anakin came back and slaughtered all those sand people and stuff like from episode 3.
I wonder who did. I mean,
yeah,
they know who did it. I guess that gang, but
Sure, it just felt very reminiscent of that.
Yeah, good point.
And as soon as I watched it, I was like, "Oh man, this is kind of weird." It's very similar to that scene. So I don't know if that's like a callback to it on purpose or if they're going to bring something different in. But like, it definitely stood out to me as like, oh, they're calling back this on purpose. Like this is very reminiscent of Anakin in Episode 3. But
yeah. Well, I believe Vader goes back. Like in the comic books, I believe he goes back and slaughters a bunch of sand people as well. I'm pretty sure he does.
Yeah, so that would make sense. I mean, even like how they explained like the territories of the area after of Tatooine after Jabba died and like all that. Like they're like, oh, this gang controls this territory, this gang controls this territory, so on and so forth. I really thought for a second, because before I watched this episode, just to give everybody like notice, Matt texted me and was like, "Oh, it was a really good episode," or something along those lines. Like he kind of hyped it up for me, and I totally thought when they said that, I was like, "Holy shit, we're getting Watto! We are getting Watto! Like he's controlling a territory! Oh my god, we are gonna get like Watto's peeps controlling a territory of fucking Tatooine," and then it never happened. That bummed me out.
Annie.
Auntie, I was good to your mother. But yeah, like I just the whole time I was like, oh my god, we're gonna get Watto back. I am so excited, but no, just didn't happen.
I'm sorry I hyped you up for potential Watto sightings.
If I would have got Watto, I would have popped that fucking tarp off and I would have been like, I would have went crazy.
Watto!
Yeah, I would have went nuts. But didn't happen. Didn't happen yet.
I'm sorry.
Could still happen in the following episodes.
Maybe he'll be Watto will be in command of the crime syndicate.
God, I would love it. It would be amazing.
Bring
me Watto.
So like I get excited when I think of that because it makes me wonder. Remember how they said that the mayor's working with the Pikes or whatever.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if the Pikes are working for Crimson Dawn, because I think in Solo they make a comment about the Pikes as well. So
it wouldn't surprise me. I think it's smart how they're tying everything into each other. They're really making the whole storyline cohesive. And like I had a friend at work. She had not seen a single Marvel thing, like at all. She didn't know anything about the Marvel movies, hadn't seen a movie, hadn't seen the shows, whatever. And she texted me because she knows that we do the podcast and whatever. And she was like, I just watched WandaVision for the first time. And I was like, dude, that show's going to make way more sense to you if you have seen all the shit leading into WandaVision.
Yeah.
So she went back and she watched all the movies up to Shang-Chi and all the shows in a span of like 11 days. Like she watched everything. And she was like, oh, it's really, really good. Like it's insane. And I was like, did you not sleep for 11 days? Like, I don't know how you watched all that in 11 days, but she did it.
That's
and
crazy.
So, yeah, so she was on vacation this week and she's like, okay, what else can I watch? And I was like, okay, jump into Star Wars, but this is the order you need to watch it. And I didn't know if I should tell her the order of release or if we should watch it in the order of like chronological order of like, this is how the story rolled out. But yeah, like just the way the time. Well, I said both. I was like, you can either watch it in order of release, which is, you know, obviously everybody knows the order of release, but like, obviously the first movies are going to be dated compared to the newer things and like be prepared for that kind of thing. Or you can watch it in chronological order. I don't know if she ended up watching it or not. I also gave her the X-Men timeline. I was like, or you could get into X-Men and this is the order that you need to watch it in. But the fact that they're like tying this into like, you know, Jedi and earlier episodes, everything else, like I love that they're making this more Marvel-esque, where everything ties back to each other. Yes. There's characters that pop into other things. It just shows that they've really learned, I think, a lot from Marvel and from doing that universe of like how to make Star Wars a universe rather than standalone episodes, you know?
Well, I think with Filoni and Favreau kind of at the helm, I feel like that there's a reason why it all feels like it's the same, because it's the
Favreau,
same
for sure.
people
Yeah.
like driving the bus kind of thing, right? So,
Sure.
you know, I feel like we're going to see Mando at some point, Din at some point here, right? So I think if Boba ends up, you know, going to war with, you know, whoever the Hutts are running away from, then I feel like you might have to call in the cavalry and see. I feel like that's where we might get Black to come back. You know.
Sure. Well, I think they also have to set up Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah.
And I think that's how they tie it in is Mando shows up at the end of this, and then it carries into the storyline of Mando 3.
Maybe, yeah.
And,
maybe.
Maybe Mando needs Boba Fett's help to get back Grogu or something along those lines. Like, it could really tie into how season 3 carries forward and how they, you know, intertwine these seasons and these characters. So I totally expect that, like, yeah, if I would be shocked if Mandalorian's not tied into this by the end of it. Yeah.
He's the one that I think. I also feel like there's a pretty damn good chance we're going to get Bosk, just because they keep talking about Trandoshans or is that how you say it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But his race, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like we're going to get a Bosk at some point here too. So
that'd be dope.
Yeah. Bosk also gets a shout out in Solo, which I caught when I watched that the other day.
No, I mean, Jon Favreau's wrote, I think, all 3 episodes so far. Like, yeah, he wrote all 3 episodes so far.
Nice.
And Robert Rodriguez directed 2 of the 3 episodes. So,
okay.
Yeah, he directed the first episode and the 3rd episode. So, I mean, they're obviously, I would love to see a rated R Robert Rodriguez directed Star Wars movie. Like, I would be so into that.
I mean, I think that'd be fantastic, but you'll never get it.
No, I think they have to go PG with it, but yeah, I don't know. I love Robert Rodriguez, so
I think there's room in the Marvel universe, but I don't think you can do it with Star Wars.
Well, I mean, like, even just talking about Peacemaker earlier, I really do think like DC would be very, very smart to carry on this like very adult, very R-rated, dark version of the DC universe. And I think Marvel should have elements of both, where there are definitely movies that are family friendly and carry on that storyline and is definitely a core part of the MCU. But I would be so into having a very R-rated, you know, Daredevil or Punisher or whatever. Like, I think they have to have that aspect. Like, I can't see that they are as successful as they will be moving forward if there's no adult content. There has to be some hard R content, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I feel like they're gonna. I mean, the thing is they can test the waters with Deadpool for Marvel.
Deadpool,
right?
Yeah.
So,
but even
we know
that supposed to be a more adult show.
What's that?
Moon Knight's supposed to be a more adult show, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So, like, I think that's gonna be the first thing we get. That's kind of more like maybe not R-rated, but like definitely adult-oriented, like, you know, content.
Yeah, I agree. It wouldn't surprise me if we get some, but yeah, I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I guess time will tell. But do you think we'll get Deadpool in Multiverse of Madness?
No.
Even a cameo? No. I feel like there's a chance we might.
I would love it. Don't get me wrong.
I feel like that's one that a lot of people wouldn't really expect. But
I've seen some rumors online of characters they're expecting in Multiverse, and they're pretty crazy that I can't see happening. There's rumors that Nicolas Cage is going to come back as Ghost Rider.
That's funny.
Comic. I can't remember. I can't read this. Comic Isle Corporation says, "Hey, what's up, buddy?"
Hey.
No, there's rumors that Nick Cage will come back as Ghost Rider. There's rumors that the original Fantastic Four will come back in Multiverse of Madness in some way. There's rumors that Evans will come back as in the Fantastic Four and not as Cap.
Yes.
Stuff like that, where like I could totally see that happening, but I also think there's no way they're going to put this much content into Multiverse of Madness. Like I just think that's too much. There's rumors going around that they wanted to put way more into Spider-Man, and like I just don't think these movies are going to be well done if they put like 35 characters into it. They have to limit it to make a contained storyline and make it like compelling. But yeah, like I think if they put a couple characters into that and drop them in the multiverse, it could be Deadpool, it could be Wolverine, it could be whatever. But that carries it on and brings it into the next movie or the next thing. But like, how do they make that cohesive? How do you have Chris Evans as one of the Fantastic Four and then reboot it a year later? It doesn't make sense to me.
I feel like what I feel like they're setting up with that is I feel like they're setting up a way to basically explain how we get all these new versions in the MCU. So I kind of feel like we're going to see Fantastic Four, we're going to see X-Men, we're going to see Ghost Rider, we're going to see Blade, and then like they're going to basically just say, okay, so these are all things that are like real things, like in this in a universe that we've now seen. And then when they, because the thing is like they're gonna inevitably stop the whole multiverse thing. Like it's not, I don't think it's coincidence that it's like Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Loki,
totally.
you know what I mean? Like I think there's a block, right, where they're gonna do what they need to do, and then they're gonna fold it all into one universe, and it's like, now it's not weird that we have a Fantastic Four because we know that was actually a thing. So the way they're going to explain it is, well, when the multiverse folded in on itself, we got a Fantastic Four, even though they weren't here before, right?
Sure.
Like that's just what they're going to do. Me and Kate were talking about it tonight because when we went for a walk and I told her we're going to watch Eternals this weekend, she's like, if they were there, why didn't they do anything with Thanos? And I'm like, well, they kind of explain it, but it's also kind of like just like a right around, because like, what can you do at this point? And then I said to her, I'm like, as these world gets bigger, like we need to start accepting crazier stories as to why some of these characters are like, it's almost better for us to just not ask, because it's like the more restrictions they have to put in place as to why they didn't show up in the big battle in Avengers and why they didn't show up with the Thanos battle. It's like, I know it's hard to not believe, but we're talking about giant green guys and people who fly around in metal suits and someone who can shrink to the size of an ant, and like it's already not set in reality. So it's so hard to like fight that, like, as again, you know what I mean? So I feel like they'll use this as their way to just be like, and then at that point, like you could redo Tony Stark because we could have a new Tony Stark now. It could be a different actor, and you don't have to like explain why he's not there. You don't have to explain why Chadwick Boseman's not there anymore.
There's rumors that Tom Cruise is taking over as Iron Man in Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, see, that's bonkers. But that'd be crazy. Like, see, how crazy would that be to see Tom Cruise as Iron Man?
There's rumors going around that Tom Cruise is in Multiverse of Madness as Iron Man from another universe.
That's amazing. So see, that's what I think they're gonna do with this. Is like,
there's also rumors that Blade, what's his face from Blade,
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes is in Multiverse of Madness as Blade.
See,
there's also rumors that the original Hulk, not
Ferrigno?
No, from the first Hulk movie there.
Eric Bana.
Eric Bana is Hulk in Multiverse of Madness.
Interesting.
There's a lot of rumors going around that like there's also rumors that Hugh Jackman is Wolverine in Multiverse of Madness.
I did hear that too. Yeah.
And it would not surprise me if any of this is true, but it would also like surprise me if it's in the movie, just because, like I said, you can't put all these characters into a movie and make it make sense. Like you have to have a cohesive storyline that works for the movie. And if you put in 20 different characters, it's gonna be a mess of a movie.
Well, I think they're not going to necessarily be characters that need to play an important role. They just need to be seen, and that's all. Their purpose will just be to be there. Like,
yeah.
And then
Hugh Jackman going "Shing" is enough.
Yeah.
You know,
like
Blade grabbing his swords and going.
Like imagine we got Deadpool from Wolverine Origins.
But again, they could make fun of it in that way. And then they could bring in actual like our Deadpool into it. Like there's so many things they could do for comedy's sake. And Sam Raimi directing Doctor Strange makes it that much better. Like yeah, Daredevil being in it, like it wouldn't surprise me either. Like there's so many things they could do that could be really funny and really comedic and really bring the story forward just as big as Spider-Man No Way Home did. But I fear that if they put in too much, it's going to make it a mess of a movie, and it's going to make it, you know, kind of like, oh, they didn't give enough time to Doctor Strange. They didn't give enough time to Wanda. They didn't give enough time to what the actual storyline of the movie is.
I'm not going to lie. I'm feeling pretty confident about their ability to handle multiple characters. I feel like they've just proved it again with No Way Home.
Right. And I think they have the right people in place where they can narrow down the script to make it make sense. So like all these rumors, maybe these are rumors that originated from the original script of like, yeah, we can tie in all these things. And then they go, okay, we need to weed this out. We need to weed this out to make it a cohesive storyline. And that's okay. But like, if you were to go, hey, the things carrying forward that we really need to tie into this movie, it would be Wolverine, it would be Blade, it would be Chris Evans as one of the Fantastic Four. It would be these things of like, okay, these are the 3 tent poles of moving forward of these are characters that existed and now we're kicking them out of the universe and bringing in the new versions of them.
Yeah.
We can do it.
Yeah.
But if you start bringing in like, you know, Storm and all this shit, like it would make it a mess of a movie. You know,
I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that. Again, they don't need to be super important. They just need to be there. And it's just like, if it's for nothing more than just having a cameo and like Strange going through everything and like seeing all these different versions of Earth and like the timelines and stuff like that, like, I don't, you know what I mean? You could put Hugh Jackman on screen for literally like a blip and like it would be enough that people would be like, yeah, like
I popped my shirt off in the theater.
He doesn't even need to be a character. He could just be there again. Like
you showed me, like when I seen Spider-Man No Way Home, everybody erupted in the theater when Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield showed up.
Yep.
That would be me if Hugh Jackman showed up in
Multiverse?
Doctor Strange Multiverse. Like I would pop my shirt off and run down the fucking aisle in the theater and go like, holy shit, we got it. Like, yeah, like Hugh Jackman is my version of that where like 100%.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's the same with Scream. If I get into this new Scream movie and, you know, whatever, they bring back Randy from Scream 1 and he's the killer, or like something crazy happens and they show the killers and it's somebody like Neve Campbell is the murderer in this movie or whatever, David Arquette, I'm going to go nuts. Like this movie is my most anticipated movie in 10 years. Like Scream was my most hyped movie for fucking ever, and the fact that I don't get to see it tonight is just fucking driving me crazy. That's all I can think about. So I'm trying to avoid the internet for the next month until I can see this fucking movie. But yeah, it'd be the same thing for Doctor Strange. It's like we have to avoid those rumors, because if all of a sudden we hear that Wolverine's in this movie or, you know, whatever, Deadpool or whoever, it's going to ruin it just like No Way Home did. Like, we have to have these things secret so that when we see this movie, it can really blow our minds.
Well, they are going through 4 months of reshoots. So
yeah,
if that's going to tell you anything, then yeah. So
yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, we have till May, so we have a long time.
Yeah. Finishing up on Boba Fett. Did you hear the rumor that this series is supposed to have a Han Solo appearance in it? Did you hear that?
I did not.
A de-aged Harrison Ford Han Solo?
Don't want it. Don't like it.
I don't know. It would be entirely... To wrap on Boba Fett, I'll say this. As we've been watching these, I feel like he's become less and less threatening and more like a good guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I mean, I guess we never knew if he was like a bad guy or if he was just doing the job, but like,
sure.
Yeah, like the whole rule with respect thing. I mean, I get it, but also it's just like, I don't know.
I think if you murder people for money, you're probably not a great guy. Period.
Do you think maybe he's trying to make do for like to make ends for like his past and shit that he's done in the past? Maybe
it very well could be. I mean, he could be an anti-hero, kind of like Han Solo, where he's not, he's not a good dude. He's kind of scummy,
yeah, he's
but
not ethical by any means.
Right.
Yeah.
He has the ability to make you like him. I think that could be the case, but I also think that maybe we're getting Boba Fett right now thinking he can rule with, not breaking the law or not being a scummy fucking villain.
Yeah.
And then at some point in the next couple episodes, he's going to realize that's not the way he can rule on Tatooine or whatever, that like he has to be that asshole, villain that like he's going to come out and start killing people. Like it very well could be. And maybe that's why it ties into Mandalorian is like Mandalorian needs that scummy bounty hunter to be able to rescue Grogu. Like,
right.
It very well could be that Mandalorian is the hero and Boba Fett is, the scummy villain that they kind of have to have that relationship of like, you can do the things I personally can't do because it's against my morals, but I need you to rescue Grogu, who's, child basically of like, he's good.
Luke though, so I mean, there's that too, right? So
sure,
but I get what you're saying. I get what you're getting at.
I mean, who knows? I think the best part about this thing, that recent Star Wars stuff, is that it's well done, it's well written, and it ties together in a right way. They have a cohesive storyline they're trying to tell, and it's not all over the map with all different people in it that like are making it a mess of a storyline. Like it all seemingly ties together. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the positive of the series is like so far everything they've shown, I'm like, I'm into this. I don't like certain aspects of episode 3, but I really hope that over the next 4 or 5 episodes, whatever it is, they really bring it together and they really have a storyline they're trying to tell. And maybe we get a season 2 of this, or maybe Boba Fett by the end of this sacrifices himself to, the better good of Grogu or whatever, or whatever the storyline they're trying to tell. But just have a cohesive storyline and tell that story. Don't fucking, hey, we're bringing in director X and he's going to tell his side storyline that makes no sense for the rest of the universe.
Well, then it's weird because it doesn't all really gel either, right? So
sure, exactly.
Yeah. So, well, I hear that they're kind of like, even everything that's coming apparently is all supposed to tie together. Like, apparently Ahsoka is supposed to tie into this timeline.
Right.
And like, so it's going to bring Thrawn in as like a main, like overarching villain kind of for the whole thing. Right. So like,
sure,
be cool to have that. And then like, Mando and another season of Mando, and then maybe another season of Boba Fett. I don't know. So
yeah, I hope by the end of this series we know where the rest of the Star Wars year is going to go, and maybe we get a trailer for Mandalorian or Obi-Wan or whatever the case may be. Like, I really hope that
Andor is next, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen.
I think it is. I think Andor is next.
Okay, well then give me that. Like, I want to know what's coming next. I want to have a trailer for the next thing. I want them to tease the next thing just like they do with Marvel. Like, I want that. Build up this Star Wars universe, and maybe next year or the year after, or wherever their next movie is going to come out, like build towards that next movie. You know?
They'd be smart to do that, but I don't know.
We'll see.
If it's anything like the people running the Hasbro toy line, I'd be concerned. So hopefully that's not the case.
Well, from watching the astonishing news and reviews little live thing they did on Monday, it sounds like the toy line's a mess. So
it is a
who
mess.
knows?
It's not in good. It's not. They're losing like loyal fans who have been like cult completionists. People who would buy like 2 of everything, 1 to keep on card and 1 to open. And like now it's like they just cherry pick the line because they're like, it's not worth it. And they don't, the Hasbro team doesn't give a shit about what the customers want or what the fans want. You know, it's less about the money and it's more about the like not listening. Right. So.
Well, it's like I commented on their podcast there. It was like, Disney can do whatever they want. Disney has the money to do whatever they want. And if Disney wanted to put money into the toy line or make sure that the toy line is as high end as they possibly could make it, they can do that. There's no exception to that rule. Disney has infinite fucking money.
Well, the difference in this is that Disney doesn't own the toy line. That's the issue, right?
No.
It's a licensing thing. But
they could.
What we were talking about was if they bought Hasbro.
Right. But that's my point. And Disney can go out and buy me if they wanted.
Yeah.
Like,
I know Disney could buy Hasbro. That probably wouldn't be an issue.
Right. They could go out and say, here's $100 million. We're buying you. Thank you.
I think it'd be smart. I'm surprised that they haven't, but maybe they're just waiting. Like, maybe it's on the block, but they just, it's just not there yet.
Sure. I mean, it's the same thing I said about Microsoft, right? It's like Microsoft bought Bethesda for like $8 billion and they got all these franchises and all these studios tied into it. And Microsoft was like, it's coin. It's $1 in our pocket. Like, it doesn't matter. $8 billion is nothing to us. Right. We make that in a fucking month. Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying about Disney is they can put out Spider-Man No Way Home and it makes $1 billion fucking dollars in a month. And it doesn't matter. That money is irrelevant to them. Yeah. So if they want to put out high-end things or bring this thing up from this to up here, they can do it. But they have to want to do it.
Yeah.
There has to be that fan demand.
Be a matter of time before they go after a toy. Because, I mean, the thing is, if you have a company like Hasbro who, of the big 3, the main 3, like domestic toy companies or whatever, like they're probably the most recognizable because they have the best brands. They have Marvel, they have Star Wars, they have Power Rangers, they have Fortnite, they have G.I. Joe, they have Transformers. So, like, they have, like, the big ones, right? And it's like... it would make sense for Disney to want to take that because, like, they could put all of their properties through that machine, right? At that point. So, is they saying you are the exclusive,
developer or exclusive manufacturer of all our toy line?
Yep.
And you get first call on everything. Anything you don't want, we're going to give to X. You have first dibs on every piece of our toy line. Whatever you think you can put out at a high level, we will give to you. Mm-hmm. It's the same as any game developer, anything. Like, I've said that forever is there has to be a certain tier of fans speaking with their wallets and saying, this is the level we want. And if you fall beneath that level, we will not purchase that item. And you're going to lose money on putting out that item if it's not up to our expectations. And until that happens, until people speak with their wallets and don't give these people money, they're not going to understand that it has to be at a certain level.
Well, that's what happened with the Star Wars thing, right? Because when they had that Rancor, it was like basically a fan crowdfunded thing. They announced their 3 tiers for like if it went over or whatever, and they were so bad that after they made the announcement, they lost people. Like the counter backed up like over 1,000 people.
And that's what I mean. That's sad.
It ended up not funding because people were just like, "I'm not doing this time." Like it's not that people didn't want the Rancor. It was more of the moral of like, you're gonna try to sell me this, and you're gonna try to use these. They basically just re-released figures that have already come out. And
but that's what I mean. Society in general needs to be in that mindset of like, you're seeing it right now with low-paying jobs, right? Where all these like low-paying like fast food or restaurant jobs of people going, we can't find employees, we can't find waitresses, we can't find waiters, we can't find servers, whatever. Of like, hey, we're paying minimum wage and we can't find any employees to work in our stores. Well, guess what? It's because minimum wage is no longer a living wage.
Yeah.
And society as a whole has moved beyond that. And you have to start paying people an appropriate level to do those jobs. And it's the same as these toys, is we have to hit an expectation of this is the level we want. This is acceptable. And if you fall below that, we're not going to pay you money that you're expecting to buy these toys. And if you want to start charging $10 for these toys or something cheap that's affordable, then maybe that will sell. But until you hit that level, we're not going to pay a premium for these toys. It's just not going to happen.
Well, that's where I'm at with Star Wars, the Hasbro ones myself, is like I've kind of made a list of about 20 characters that I still want in my collection. But I mean, at this point, I've grown my collection to where like I'm happy with it on the Star Wars. Like if I had to stop today, I would be like, okay, I feel like mostly complete. Like I'm not fully there on like the Mandalorian side of the shelf, but like, you know, for OT and prequel trilogy, like I'm pretty happy with what I have. Like I could probably stop and be fine. But like that's where I got to, is like we got price hikes, and now in Canada to buy a Star Wars Black Series figure, it's $40. And it's like, I don't see the value. They've taken away articulation. They don't give you any accessories. They give you no alternate hands. They give you no alternate heads. And I'm just like, I don't see the value. I can't justify spending $40 on this anymore. When it was $30, it was fine. But now that it's $40 and I'm getting less for what I was getting when it was $30, I can't do that. I can't.
But it's the same as the music industry, right? Like you remember in the late 90s, early 2000s when CDs were the only way we could get things really, like before MP3s became readily available. And you'd go to a store and you'd buy a new album from a band and you'd get one great song for $20 and then the rest of the album sucked.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then you hit this point where you go, I'm not paying this level for an album and the rest of the album's garbage and I get 2 hit singles and the rest of the album sucks. It's just not going to happen. And we've hit that level with everything else in our lives where we go, this is not an acceptable level anymore. They have to raise the fucking bar. If you want me to pay $40 for a toy, it's got to be X, Y, and Z. And, you know, I'm not in that universe. I don't know that, but I see it in gaming all the time where a game comes out, they're now charging $80, $90 a game for in Canada for PlayStation or Xbox. And it's like, fuck, the game comes out, it's half broken. You have to wait for a fucking patch. It doesn't have the DLC. You have to pay for the DLC, so on and so forth. It's like, I'm at a point where I'm like, fuck you. I'm not buying your game new. I'm not doing it. And then I buy the game new and it's broken and it doesn't work and patches need to come out for this, you know, this to work, this to work, this to work. I'm beyond that point where I'll wait until your game's on sale 3 months later for $30 and I'll buy it then. Like I'm not doing it. And it's going to happen across all these nerd cultures. People are going to say, "Fuck you."
Price out. It's going to
exactly.
It's people are going to say like, I can't spend that money on this anymore.
100%.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, and these people need to learn. So, I think you're on the cusp of that, where these you know Hasbro or whoever is going to have to come out and say, "This is our level of expectations, and we have to meet that or exceed that before we put out a new toy. And if we don't, then the toy's not going to come out."
It's funny because on the Marvel Legends side of things, with all the Marvel figures, same company who owns them, the price went up to $40 as well. But the difference is, and we went from getting bare bones figures in packages to figures with 3 sets of hands and an extra head and a weapon. Like, and then to me, I'm just like, I've been saying this for years. I'll pay an extra $5 if I get a couple sets of extra hands and an extra head or a weapon or an energy effect or something. Like, if I can get some accessories to go with these guys, I'll pay extra. That the money part's not the issue for me. It's I want the extras. So that's why I buy so many imports, because it's like when I buy an import Deadpool, it comes with 10 sets of hands. Like I can have them doing anything, and like I like that flexibility, right? Like I like to have that. Like I think the movie Deadpool figure that's coming out, the Figure Arts one from Bandai, I think it has like 10 or 11 sets of hands, and it's just like everything from hearts to call me to middle fingers to you know what I mean? And it's just like that's what I want, right?
No, and that's what I mean with music too, right? Is like Coheed and Cambria just released their new album. It's not out yet, but like they just announced it today. It's coming out like May, and they're like, "Oh, here's our deluxe package." And and it comes with A, Y, B, C, D, F, whatever. But it comes up with a CD, and I was like, "Where's your vinyl option?" Because I have literally no interest in this if it comes with a CD. But if it came with a vinyl album,
You would
I totally
change
considered it.
Yeah, totally.
And there's no option for vinyl. And I'm like,
That
why
seems
do
weird.
I
Why
want a
would you
CD?
Like, who even buys CDs anymore? Is that a thing?
Right.
I didn't know that.
100%. Like I haven't put a CD in a CD player in 10 years.
Yeah.
Why do
When
I
think
want a
of
CD?
physical media? I don't think of CDs. It'd be
No,
the same
nobody
as
does.
thinking of a cassette tape. Like they're just
Totally.
not relevant.
And that's what I mean. Is like, where's your vinyl option? Okay, you don't have one. I'm not paying you $130 American for this deluxe set of your album. Like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't need a CD.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you, man. I'm with you on that.
yeah, I get it. I get fandom. If you're into that thing, whatever it is, you're willing to pay a premium for the right thing. And if it's not that right thing, then fuck it. I'm not into it. You know.
Yeah, well, it's just that it's as it becomes more expensive, the less likely it is to survive, right? So
Sure, totally.
you know, it's even.
You have to hit that balance.
So
Yeah. All right. Is that it? Is that it for this episode?
I think that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Well, that was our 1 year anniversary episode. We went for 90 minutes. It was very nice and long and hard, just like you like it. Yeah, I'm looking dead into your eyes.
There had to be a dick joke.
Yeah, it had to be a dick joke. I appreciate everybody that's checked out the podcast, whether it's here on Instagram or YouTube or Spotify or however you get it. I appreciate you. I respect you giving us a chance. Exactly. If you haven't subscribed or followed us or done any of that stuff, we would really appreciate if you did. It adds to our numbers. It adds to our counts of everything, and really gives us
boners. Gives us lots of boners.
Gives us boners, but also gives us that energy to continue on. You know, boners and energy. That's what we need.
They're
That's what we
basically
feed
the
off.
same. They're basically the same thing.
They both require a lot of energy. So if you haven't, follow Moose Mouth Media, follow At Customs by Matthew, because we both are doing some really cool shit, I think, and Matt especially. And you know, he's doing lives on Wednesday, showing you how he built his customs, and it's really awesome. He's doing a lot of like cool little things of showing you how he gets to certain aspects of his figures, and I respect it from somebody that doesn't know anything about building a custom figure. He's very knowledgeable on that stuff, and his Wednesday streams are really, really good at that.
Thanks. We're gonna make a customizer out of you yet.
No, I have no art skills at all. So that's not going to happen. But
no,
I appreciate and love everything you do, and
thanks, man.
I hope that people check you out, but also check out our podcast on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts and YouTube, because that helps as well. Tell a friend, tell a family member. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And cheers to 1 year, Matt. I appreciate you. I wouldn't do this podcast without you. So
that's good, because it'd be weird if you were just like on here talking to me and I'm not here. So
I would just be
think about that, Matt.
I would just be doing this for 60 minutes an episode.
It could start with you asking me a question, and then you're like, we're just gonna wait for him to join. Yeah, and it's like 70, 75, 90 minutes of you just waiting for me to hopefully come in and join the podcast.
Yeah, I just stare at the camera for like the 65 minutes. I'm like,
any minute now. It's going to be here.
Anytime.
He's coming.
Come on. I saw a message in chat. Is that Matt? No, not Matt. He'll be here. He'll be here.
That's Customs by Jeff. Okay, we're good. Next time.
Yeah, Customs by Jeff, not Matt, but he's close. He's almost Matt. Same 4 letters. Just
anybody who's just dropping in, we're just waiting for Matt to come in. We're just...
Yeah. We're going to talk to Matt and go. Nope, not Matt. Jeff again. Jeff came back. All right, shit. But yeah, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you over this last year, and I hope we have 35 more years.
35 more years. All right, that sounds good. Sounds good.
We'll do this until we're in our late 70s.
That sounds really good.
All right, buddy.
All right, man. We'll have that Vaseline. We'll have that Vaseline fight afterwards. after we retire from the podcast.
Can't wait. That's all I've been waiting for. This is the only reason I do the podcast is Vaseline fights in our future.
I was promised Vaseline fights when I'm 75.
I was promised punch and pie. Thank you.
Yes, I was told there would be some punch and pie.
All right, buddy. I will see you next week.
All right, man.
Have a good week.
Yeah, peace. Bye, everybody.
Cheers. Thanks, everybody.